Budgeting, which is something that we briefly learnt in high school. How to budget, how to save for X, Y, and Z. Then you turn your head around. You talk to this new migrant guy. He has massive dreams or whatever, how they pay or get the house or get the car, what they wanted a lot earlier than you. They have a different way of looking in life. Where us Aussies or Westerners, we are so empowered or so sold his narrative, independence, freedom, not to rely on anyone. I've met someone, I don't know in real context, but a newly graduate high school student who claims she wants to do IT, and after doing IT she wants to move out to whatever the place without relying on a man or whatever. This is the whole notion that is being sold to many of the Western born. Go against, don't rely on anyone. Yet we fail to get to see many of the migrants, immigrants who come to this country, or whatever the country it is, they're doing very well. They don't have this notion where, I work, freedom independently to get where they are. They work as what they're known that has been working perfectly well in their society, which is work as collectivism amongst the family. Whether they borrow or whether they have this lottery where system that put in place that push them ahead on getting whether it's a deposit of the house or whatsoever. And many us locals in the country complaining, they're stealing the jobs, or they are taking the houses, or whatever. Well, to answer that one is maybe the jobs that you don't want to work on, they're doing it. And not only just that, but they just got a smarter way. They work at the way how they have their money and finances being put on to this little safe or whatever what they call it, or bank, or whatever. The thing about the whole notion of going through that whole period of being, I'm independent, I'm freedom, I don't need someone. To some other cultures, they work in a very advanced, traditional, maybe backwards way, but they're succeeding. The answer to this whole thing is they're succeeding. They're winning. You see immigrants who came here, they started to work, they do multiple jobs and multiple certificate or field, hustle, hungry, always be hungry. As us local born, we're thinking, we get it too easy. I don't do that, I'm not that low. I only get this much pay or whatever. And when you have like that, they thrive to work harder and further and above and beyond. And when they do get a house, they get married, they have kids, and they have a couple of houses. And most of our local borns were scratching our head. They must have doing something illegal or whatever, but never appreciate what they did. In my relationship, I get to see that. I thought being Australian born and you're seeing all this fairness and everything that is going to do us a favour, the government's going to look after us. In the end, we didn't get anywhere. We were just a bunch of complainers, not risk takers. I can't look for the future. And we followed this whole system. And it lies in the bed, like what I just told you, with the independence. And also is how do we get paid? The culture of getting paid with you get paid, you celebrate, or we don't have these budgeting skills. Migrants who come to this country, they don't get hourly rate. They get monthly rate. And when they get paid, and whatever how they sort out the money and survive or save, that is a skill that's been passed on by generations. Not like us, we get paid weekly and fortnightly. We tend to eat a bit more lavish. It may not seem that way, because we are mainly a meat eater. We eat food that's coming from Coles and Woolworths, where many migrants will go to their local grocery stores and eat, or they just put powder and water. Like for example, um, not all Indians, but like Indians, they have like curry and they have vegan diet. Then you have like where my partner's coming from, they have like Vietnamese where they only have water, soup, a bit of spices, and whatever leftover bone, and then add noodles and add some fresh ingredients, and that's it. They can eat that 3 days a meal or whatever. For us, there's a big problem. We tend to eat good stuff, or crave for all the international food and Uber Eats and whatsoever, and we don't save money, right? For these guys, they live frugal. They have this monthly spending, right? Because they look at, that's how they inherit the whole thing. My relationship breakdown is because it's the way how I brought up in the Western world. And it didn't save me money. No matter how much I make, it didn't save me money. There's a proposed that when I go back to this relationship, I have to put 15% spending per month. It may sound not a lot to you guys for $15,000 to spend on food and petrol. It is a challenge. But to many of the migrants, that's a piece of cake. But us Aussie born, we tend to eat, good stuff that we don't realize how good we are. And, that is a notion where it plays a part in our society, because we get paid monthly. We eat loosely. We eat the good stuff without us knowing. Yeah? But we can't save. This is where I often blame my relationship, because I didn't see the problem with me. And when you see that, and you go through that, and there's a lot of harsh punishment, the consequence of losing your own family because you couldn't save. I believe many households that I'm walking right now in a park, how many of them who spend loosely? And the saddest part about the whole thing is when you hit to retirement age, when you get the government money, you'll probably get, up to 1,000 a fortnight, or you got 800, some people 700 a fortnight. How can you sustain that if you're not learning it at the very young age? So right now, it is a harsh reality to know we've lost the battle. We can complain on migrants, this and that, but their model, backwards model, not a forward-thinking model, not freedom, independence, got them the Australia dream. We couldn't get the Australia dream. We thought, we study well, I go to this school, I mix with this type of buddies, X, Y, and Z. You can make good money, but you're blowing cash. And especially with this cashless society, the notion of tapping the card, or whether you use your phone to tap the card, it is just so instant gratification that you've forgotten that what you spent today was that much. So it's less of the value of the meaning, the cashless. It didn't make us save. Then it trickles down a lot of problems, whether you have newly married, or you can't save money, or you can't budget. And who are you going to blame? We tend not to blame ourselves, or blame someone else. And that's what I did. It was a very painful reflection to go through this. And I don't know what to say, because that damage that I caused, I've already lost a year seeing my daughter grows every day. And I don't want to continue that. Whether it's fair or not fair. I'm just so grateful that she's willing to take me back under that circumstance of the budgeting. It's going to be very difficult. We are enjoying our meat. We tend to eat the good lavish stuff. I'm a big boy as well. Well, many of the migrants, they're skinny. They can survive rice and water, a soup. Well, I can't. I have to enjoy luxurious food. So yeah, it's just so, the whole thing, we can blame the cost of living. We can blame Trump. We can blame whatever the people we can blame on, flick the blame. But if you can't control yourself and you have this instant gratification, good food, or when you go to Coles and Woolworths, you can't, you want to grab one item, you came out with a whole bag, or whatever, a takeout or whatever the lifestyle it is, it's just too much. So you have to control among yourself to get to the level that you want to. And unfortunately, it's not doing us very well. We can blame the wages not going up, but if we don't blame ourselves, the way how we have our lifestyle, then we will never have everything. And this is something that I've made that much money and my money is going out of the bank account. It's just so depressing to discuss about. We haven't learned budgeting in our high school. Even if we do briefly, what to cut out. So depressing every time you walk out the Coles and Woolworths, $60 for one bag. It's just so depressing. But yeah, that's the video. It's just a life lesson. Life give you a curveball. And it's not fun at all. Until you lost everything and you can't control yourself.